Hey everyone, welcome to Bill's Mathia. For this episode, I want to focus on the now controversial decision to send the field goal unit out against the Denver Broncos at the end of this week's game, which resulted in a too many men on the field flag and a retry on that missed field goal, which did result in a loss. No, I'm not going to make you relive the field goal itself, but I do want to have people have the opportunity to take a look at this formation because we will take a look at something else similar where this is going to be relevant. So take a quick moment, see what this formation looks like, and if you're a glutton for punishment, go ahead and count the blue jerseys on this. You are going to come to 12. This is definitely a flag. Leading up to the decision to send the field goal unit out to attempt for a block / distraction, as you can see Benford in the background jumping, trying to create a little bit of a distraction there, was this play. And part of the controversy regarding the game from quite a few fans is why did Sean McDermott call his third timeout with 24 seconds left on the clock? So let's take a look at the alternatives. Right now, we do see the play at the 24-second mark directly after the timeout was called. Denver has the ball, as we know. It's on the Buffalo 20-yard line. So if Buffalo doesn't call this timeout, the Broncos have to come out and set up some sort of formation. As noted, we have 24 seconds left on the game clock. The play before this was another kneel down, pretty much exact same formation. With that kneel down, the game clock continues running, and the play clock resets to 40. Now, with 24 seconds left on the game clock, Denver can really run this down to the 4 or 5 second mark, have Wilson drop back, spike the ball. Now, what that means is they can blow the play dead at essentially just a few seconds left, retain the ball at the 20-yard line, and most importantly, reset the play clock to 40 seconds. That means they have 40 seconds now to get their guys out and set them up for that field goal attempt. 40 seconds is plenty of time for this. They got it done in under that. So absolutely in no way would I have wanted Sean McDermott to hold on to that timeout just to hopefully get his guys aligned for a better formation. The advantage to that is so skewed towards Denver. It gives them a relaxed, calm environment to kick what is essentially a gimme field goal. Now, why, though, is the timeout at this point an advantage for Buffalo? Well, the advantage comes for opportunity. As noted, this is a third down play with 24 seconds left on the clock. This forces Denver to do something with this third down. Now, it's a slim chance, but is it possible that Sean Payton would have said, look, I got the ball on the 20-yard line. An incomplete pass is not going to hurt me. I'm going to take a shot at the end zone. So now I have two chances to win the game. I have this third down play, and I have the fourth down, which again, if nothing bad goes on, we can have this chip shot field goal again. But for Buffalo's point of view, if for some reason they attempt that pass, Buffalo has a 3.14% chance of intercepting the ball this season. It's not the world's best odds, but it is a realistic opportunity to take the ball away. If they don't score a touchdown, that allows time on the clock because that incomplete pass will work as essentially a free timeout for Buffalo, which means that fourth down we know again will be the field goal. It's always going to come back to the field goal. But with that fourth down being the field goal, the third down incomplete pass would establish essentially a free timeout for Buffalo. Now, of course, playing the odds, Peyton does the smart thing, and he calls for the kneel down. Now, why is that advantageous for Buffalo with this timeout? You can see it right here. Again, we're not talking great odds. Buffalo was never going to jump up to like 90% win percentage off of that timeout decision. But they're escalating a little bit higher than the zero that holding the timeout would have done for them. So with this frame, what I pause is AJ Epinesa, who has made his way all the way to the backfield. Slim chance, better than none, botch snap, fumble. This could have been Buffalo's ball. So again, small opportunity, but it does give Buffalo one more. Now, another thing I'm seeing quite a bit this week is a lot of people levying the accusation, that maybe Buffalo is not preparing their team to the best for situational football. They don't have things ready to go. And I'm going to freeze at this moment to highlight something that I think is fairly relevant to that conversation. Both teams obviously know what's happening here. This is 4th down. We're going to be setting up for this field goal attempt. This is midfield. This is about 26 yards from the sidelines. And we see at this particular frame, even though both teams are prepared and ready for this, we do see more blue jerseys at the center of the field than we do the substitutions coming in for Denver. So what this suggests to me is that Buffalo had their guys on the sideline after that timeout ready to make the transition to the field goal blocking unit. Use that as you will, but to me that does suggest the coaches were preparing to the best of their ability on the sideline. Somebody in this group of blue jerseys, they didn't get the memo, however you want to word it. It happens. We'll come back to that in just a moment. It does happen. But again, I don't see this as a coaching error. I hinted earlier, I want you to take a look at that field goal blocking formation. Let's rewind to week 8, and we have the Buffalo Bills attempting to block a field goal against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as we progress through this, I'm going to have you focus right there. Just a little deflection, that's all it takes, little fingertip. Look at the result. Blocked field goal. Now, why is this relevant? We are finally approaching the true Bills Mathia portion of the video. I'm going to flash some numbers on the screen, and we're going to talk about those numbers. We have 5.2% versus 0.065%. One thing people love to hate on for NFL coaches is playing scared or playing not to lose. That's a criticism I see of Sean McDermott pretty much every 10 to 15 seconds. It seems like someone's throwing that comment out. Sean McDermott plays not to lose. So let's talk about these numbers and what they mean. 5.2% is essentially what you just looked at. There have been 19 attempted field goals against the Buffalo Bills this season, and what you just witnessed is the one that was blocked. That means currently for this season, the Buffalo Bills are blocking 5.2% of field goals attempted against them. Now, I'm going to challenge that number a little bit. That's probably a little bit inflated in just a slide or two. But 5.2% is essentially what the Bills kind of feel like they're doing. Like, hey, we've already done it this season. We can do it. We know we have done it. Now, what's that 0.065%? Well, I added up the number of offensive snaps for Buffalo. That's 646 this season. I added that to the defensive snaps, which is 651. And then let's throw in the special teams snaps. That's 242. Now that leads to 1,539 snaps that the Buffalo Bills have had cumulatively across the season. We can also consider those opportunities to have a too many players on the field penalty, because it can happen in any phase of the game. The play we looked at the very beginning of this video is the only instance of a too many players on the field flag called against Buffalo this season. That means this flag is occurring at a 0.065% rate for the Buffalo Bills. From a statistical viewpoint, essentially what you're looking at is a slim but realistic probability versus something that really should not come into your calculus for realistic outcomes. Or in other words, if you're making decisions based on a fear of this outcome, you're playing not to lose. You're playing scared. So that's why I firmly am on the fence of Sean McDermott should have done what he did, or did what he did, which is send out the field goal blocking unit to try to get something. Now let's take a look at the league rates, see how that changes. In the NFL, there has been 618 attempted field goals based off of the data I could find. And the best information I could gather shows 12 blocked field goals this season for a 1.94% rate, or in other words, 2 kicks out of every 100, 1 out of every 50, however you want to look at that. Again, a small chance, but a realistic probability that could essentially occur. This is your rate of too many men on the field flags. Now, to get this one, I did look at opportunities. There have been what I consider 41,722 opportunities. And how I got that was there's 19,011 offensive plays that I could find this season. Now, for every offensive play, there's a defender across from them, which means you double that percentage. I added in the number of punts and the number of field goals, and again times 2 because both teams have the opportunity to have one of these flags. So that's where I got my 41,722 opportunities. There have been 19 too many defensive men on the field and 4 too many offensive men on the field flags called this year, for a grand total of 23, and that leads us to our 0.055%. Another way to look at this is that this flag occurs on every 1,818 opportunities, or every 909 plays, which is essentially maybe once every 6 games you might see this. Not tremendous odds that this is going to happen. So even if we take a look at the NFL data, we do skew a little bit more towards, yeah, a blocked field goal is not super likely. The Buffalo Bills are actually higher than average with 1. So yeah, this isn't super likely, but this is a chance. This is a realistic chance. This is an attempt to make something happen, where considering the outcome of a too many men on the field flag and making coaching decisions based off of that, to me, is just playing out of fear. That's all I have for you today. I want to make sure you don't forget to like, subscribe, and I want a special shout out to Hornell Fred, one of my favorite commenters from Buffalo Rumblings, who really sparked the math dive that did lead to tonight's video. And Fred, I know we sometimes go head to head with some of our stances. Love you, great debater. Hope to see you around for a long time to come. And for all of you, hopefully watching through to the end of the video, I hope to see you back as well.